Hey y'all, Kyle here, AA0Z, and welcome to my workbench. So in this video, I'm going to take you on a tour of the different sections of my workbench here. I am in my basement, where most of my ham radio and workbench stuff is located at. And I'll give you a tour of some of the stations that I have here in the basement and show you what I've got going on. First, let's talk about the bench. The bench is homemade. I wanted a bench that I could stand at versus sit at, and I knew that I wanted it a certain length and depth, or width and depth. So I built my own, and I went out and bought these roofing and floor joist supports, and basically made the whole thing from scratch. So this is my main workbench here. This is where I do all of my kit building, all of my electronics, any type of things that I need to put together, from a coax to Anderson power poles. And here is my storage solution. So let's start with the workbench over here. I've got a Harbor Freight vise here that's just screwed down to the tabletop here. I've got all of my clamps, some safety goggles. I have a TV here with speakers, and I've got a Chromecast connected to it, so I can watch YouTube videos or instructional videos while I'm doing something here at the workbench. The helping hands here for soldering. These are always great. These are magnetic bowls where you can put different screws and they don't get lost. You can buy this at Harbor Freight for a couple of bucks. A Google Home or a Google Assistant, Google Assistant. Here's a tray that I've printed off that I put stuff in. I've got an MFJ 4225 MV voltage or variable voltage power supply that allows me to adjust the voltage up and down for different things that I'm working with. This is a 5-volt power supply, and then I've got some different connectors here that I use for testing stuff, radios. I've got a fan here that I use to blow the smoke away whenever I'm soldering. Here's my solder tray. Here's my Hakko FX888D. This is a great soldering iron. I think it's like $100, and it has performed flawlessly over the many years that I've had it. Some tape. I had a pegboard. Well, obviously the pegboard is still here, but I had a lot more stuff on the pegboard, and I found that I just didn't use any of the stuff on the pegboard. It's great for storing stuff, but I found that I never stored anything on here, so I kind of abandoned this idea. That's why there's not really that much stuff on the pegboard. And I've got some miscellaneous stuff here on the bench, drill. Some projects that I'm working on. This smaller vice grip or flat vice grip that I use for soldering to hold stuff as I'm soldering. I've got your shelf of junk that everyone has. I've got these trays are filled with loose screws that I don't know where they went. So they're onesies and twosies. One of the, if you don't have an iFixit kit here for precision work, I suggest you get one of those. And then up there, it's just another junk shelf with a lot of stuff. I put this light up here for more light, which was made a big difference. But then I got this adjustable light with a magnifying glass, so I can get down and really see some of the stuff that I'm soldering. I highly suggest getting one of these arms with the light on it. It makes a world of difference. So let me explain these switches here. These switches control these electrical outlets on the side of the workbench here. I had the idea when I created this or made this workbench that I was going to have different things plugged into those electrical outlets, and I could turn them on and off with these switches, and that just didn't seem to be the case. I have things plugged in there that are on all the time, and sometimes whenever I plug stuff in, I wonder why it's not working, and I come over here and the switches are off. So word to the wise, don't ever put switches on your electrical outlets. Okay, the storage system. So I've got miscellaneous bins that have miscellaneous stuff up there. This is my poor man Sortimo system. If you have seen any of the tested Adam Savage YouTube videos, you've probably have seen his Sortimo method, and those bins are very expensive. They're like $80 a piece. These are Harbor Freight, and they are $8 a piece, and they are basically bins that have smaller bins on them to sort different things. And I've got a couple here that have some ham radio stuff in it. So here are my Anderson power poles, connectors, lugs, more electrical stuff. So I have quite a bit of these up here that have different stuff on them, or different stuff in them. You wonder why they're not labeled. I don't understand why they're not labeled either. They should be, but I know exactly where everything is at, so if you know where everything is at, why label everything? So different bins. I always use clear bins so I can see what's in them. Air compressor, some wire, glues, Velcro, and then coming down here is more storage. I've got some empty bins that I haven't filled yet, and there's no rhyme or reason to this system here. It's just kind of where everything falls whenever I feel like I need to put it away. So this is my Prusa printer, 3D printer. I've printed a lot of ham radio related stuff on this printer. Currently I've got red and some yellow up there, and I store all of my colors underneath of this. This is a table from IKEA that I got, that I set this on, and then there's my Raspberry Pi running Octoprint, and then one of the cameras that captures while it's printing, and then this is just a Waze camera sitting on some spools that I haven't printed out a stand for that captures more of the print from a different angle. Coming around here to behind the printer is a bandsaw that I picked up for cheap, along with a shop vac. And then in here is more storage, more computer stuff. So I've got some routers, I've got some label equipment, wireless. There's a couple of computers that have gone to the graveyard. KVM cables, SATA jumpers, power cables. So patch cables, video cables, USB cables. Store them in these little bins here for easy access. Alright, coming over here to my tool chest, which is right next to my workbench. I've got some kits up here that I haven't finished. Here in these drawers are small screwdrivers, small tools, screwdrivers, pliers, some more pliers, some scissors, some electrical tools, some heat shrink, fuses, some more wrenches, files, Allen wrenches, drill bits, more drill bits, miscellaneous bits, and gun cleaning supplies. And then down here is just circular saw and drill, and some other stuff. This is where I keep all of my spare coax, that if I need any coax to terminate for a jumper, I keep it there. Here is my club's Yaesu System Fusion node. So this is the FTM 100D that goes up to a Yagi up on the roof and points towards one of our digital repeaters. And then here is the HRI 200, and then it is connected to a computer down here, and it runs our node, our STL Metro node 43072, and currently there are 4 repeaters connected to it. And this is what the WiresX software looks like. And if you want to connect in, you just connect into 43072 node, and you're talking on all 4 of these repeaters here. All of that is connected to this Astron linear power supply. Got a ELK antenna, log periodic antenna that I use for some satellites. Here is my pseudo ham bench here. I've got a Kenwood V71. I've got my Kenwood D710A that goes actually upstairs, and that's where that head unit sits. But this is where I do a lot of my testing. I've got my 891 here that I'm testing for Illinois QSO party that's coming up here in a few weeks. And this is kind of where I just hang out and do some ham radio stuff. I've got some dummy loads in here, my Bioenno batteries. I've got power distribution that comes off of the Astron power supply. So this is where I kind of hang out and do a lot of my testing of radios. Here is where I do kind of my computer stuff. So I've got two stations here set up where I can hook up computers and test them out. This is where I've got a box of stuff that I need to test out before Illinois QSO. I've got this QRP guys kit that I put together. Here's the kit build that we did on my channel a few weeks ago that I've never done anything with. Here is another QRP guys 40 to 10 unun that I put together that I need to test. Then I've got, here's my portable storage container that whenever I go out portable, I take that out. But this is where I do a lot of my computer work. So that's the tour of the shop. Hope you enjoyed it. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up and hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you later. 73.